Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable Australian 20-cent coin you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these Australian 20-cent coins so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1998 Australian 50-cent coin is part of the long-running decimal series that has been a cornerstone of Australian currency since the mid-20th century. Introduced in 1966 with the shift from pre-decimal pounds, shillings, and pence to the decimal system, the 50-cent piece has undergone a few transformations but remains one of the most iconic and recognizable coins in circulation. The 1998 issue sits within this history as a standard circulation piece but carries features that continue to make it interesting for collectors and enthusiasts alike. The reverse of the coin features a design that has been a constant on 50-cent pieces since 1969. The Australian coat of arms by Stuart Devlin. At the center is a shield with 6 sections, each containing the badge of one of the Australian states. Supporting the shield are the kangaroo and the emu, two of Australia's most famous animals, both chosen as national supporters because they are unique to the country and symbolically represent progress, as neither moves backward easily. Above the shield is the 7-pointed Commonwealth star, and behind the entire design are branches of golden wattle, the national floral emblem. Devlin's design is detailed and intricate, rewarding close examination with its fine texture and symbolism. From a technical perspective, the 1998 Australian 50-cent coin is struck in copper-nickel alloy, weighs 15.55 grams, and measures 31.65 millimeters across. It retains the distinctive 12-sided or dodecagonal shape that makes it unique among world coinage. This shape not only sets it apart visually, but also provides a tactile recognition for users. With millions produced for circulation in 1998, this issue is not considered rare. Its availability in large numbers means that collector value is highly dependent on condition. The coin being discussed here is described as being in dirty condition with a black color shade and some scratches. These factors significantly affect its value. Over time, coins in circulation are exposed to dirt, oils, and environmental conditions that can cause discoloration or toning. A black color shade often comes from oxidation or accumulated grime, which, while interesting from a visual perspective, is generally seen as damage in the numismatic community. Scratches further reduce appeal, as collectors typically prefer coins with smooth, original surfaces in numismatic grading terms. This coin would fall into a circulated grade, possibly fine or lower depending on wear and surface marks. In such condition, the coin shows clear evidence of handling. The high points of the Queen's portrait and the coat of arms on the reverse would display flattening and loss of detail, while the design remains visible. The sharpness and crispness that make higher-grade examples appealing are largely absent in dirty and scratched coins. When it comes to market value, the 1998 Australian 50-cent coin in this condition generally does not command much premium above its face value. In today's auction market, a coin in dirty, scratched condition is typically valued around 50 cents, the same as its face value. Collectors are unlikely to pay more unless the coin has some unique feature, such as an error. However, it is important to note that coins in better condition from the same year can carry more value. For example, an uncirculated 1998 50-cent coin with full luster and no marks might bring $1 to $3 at auction. Proof versions, struck in special collector sets with polished dies and mirror-like finishes, are much more desirable and can range from $10 to $20 or more, depending on demand and presentation. Error coins, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, or clipped planchettes, are also highly collectible and can command strong prices far above the standard market. But in the case of a standard 1998 coin, in black shade and dirty condition with scratches. The reality is that its value remains close to its face value. While it may not be a financial treasure, it is still historically and culturally significant. It marks the last year of the Raphael Maclove portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on Australian coinage, a portrait that defined more than a decade of Australia's circulating currency. It also continues Stuart Devlin's classic coat of arms design, which ties the series back to its early years. Next up, the 1982 Australian 50-cent coin is part of the decimal coinage series that began in 1966, when Australia transitioned from the old system of pounds, shillings, and pence $2 By the early 1980s, the 50-cent piece had already become a familiar part of everyday transactions, with its large size, distinct 12-sided shape, and symbolic design. It was one of the most recognizable coins in circulation. The 1982 issue stands as an interesting piece for collectors, reflecting both the enduring traditions of Australian coinage and the everyday commerce of the era. From a technical perspective, the 1982 Australian 50-cent coin was struck in copper-nickel alloy, with a weight of 15.55 grams and a diameter of 31.65 millimeters across its widest points. Its distinctive dodecagonal shape ensures that it cannot be easily confused with other coins. Millions of these coins were minted in 1982, so it is not considered rare or scarce. In fact, most 1982 50-cent pieces are still commonly found in circulation today, which means that collector value is heavily dependent on condition rather than rarity. The coin being discussed here is described as being in fine condition with some scratches. In numismatic grading terms, fine condition indicates a coin that has circulated widely. It shows significant wear, especially on the high points of the design. On the obverse, the Queen's portrait would appear worn and flat, with much of the finer detail in the hair and crown reduced or missing. On the reverse, the kangaroo and emu would still be visible, but flattened, and much of the texture of the shield and wattle sprays would be indistinct. Fine condition coins are considered collector grade, but they are on the lower end of the scale. Below, very fine, extra fine, and uncirculated. The presence of scratches further reduces the coin's appeal. Scratches are considered damage, and while light marks are common on circulated coins, more noticeable scratches detract from my appeal and limit collector demand. For this reason, a fine condition coin with scratches would not command strong premiums at auction. In today's auction market, Australian 50-cent coin in fine condition with some scratches typically sells for around its face value of 50 cents. Collectors who specialize in date runs of Australian 50-cent coins may include it in their collections, but there is little financial incentive for them to bid high on a scratched and worn example. Dealers also generally sell these coins at or near face value, often as part of bulk lots. That said, higher grade examples of the 1982 50-cent coin can bring modest premiums. Coins in very fine or extra fine condition, with clearer detail and fewer marks, may sell for $1 to $2. Uncirculated coins, especially those with original mint luster and no scratches, can attract prices between $3 and $5 or more, depending on demand. Proof issues, struck in small numbers with mirror-like fields for collector sets, are significantly more valuable and can sell for $10 to $20 or higher, particularly if housed in their original packaging. Error coins from 1982 are also of interest to collectors. Mistrikes, such as off-center strikes, broad strikes, or clipped planchettes, can fetch much higher prices depending on the severity and rarity of the error. These unusual coins are sought after not only by Australian collectors, but also by error specialists worldwide. Still, even though a 1982 coin in fine condition with scratches may not be financially valuable, it remains a piece of history. It represents the era of the Makin portrait, one of the most widely used depictions of Queen Elizabeth II on Australian coins. It also continues the tradition of Stuart Devlin's coat of arms reverse, which has become an enduring symbol of Australian currency. For collectors, coins like this may serve as placeholders until higher-grade examples are found, or simply as reminders of the coins that once passed through the hands of millions of Australians in daily transactions. Next up, the 2001 Australian 50-cent coin is a particularly interesting issue in the long-running series of Australian decimal coinage. By this time, the 50-cent piece had already become one of the most recognizable coins in the country, thanks to its large size, heavy weight, and distinctive 12-sided design. The 2001 issue, however, stands out because it was released during Australia's centenary of Federation celebrations, and this year produced not only standard circulation coins, but also a wide range of commemorative designs. For collectors, this makes 2001 an especially significant date in the series, the reverse of the standard. 2001 issue continued with Stuart Devlin's classic design of the Australian coat of arms. This has been the standard reverse for most 50-cent coins since 1969. At the center is the shield, divided into 6 sections containing the emblems of the 6 Australian states. Supporting the shield are the kangaroo and the emu, chosen as national supporters because they are uniquely Australian and symbolize progress as they do not easily move backward. Above the shield sits the Commonwealth Star, with its 7 points representing the states and territories, while sprays of golden wattle surround the composition. Devlin's design is both detailed and symbolic, combining natural elements with national identity. However, 2001 also saw the release of Special Centenary of Federation commemorative 50-cent coins. These included a series featuring designs for each of the states and territories of Australia, making the year highly collectible. Millions of both standard and commemorative coins were issued, ensuring their presence in circulation and popularity among collectors. From a technical perspective, the 2001 Australian 50-cent coin is struck in copper-nickel alloy, weighs 15.55 grams, and measures 31.65 millimeters across its widest points. Its 12-sided shape makes it instantly identifiable and easy to distinguish from other denominations. Because large mintages were produced for both the standard and commemorative issues, the 2001 coins are not rare. Their value today largely depends on condition, specific design type, and collector interest. The coin being discussed here is described as being in good condition with some scratches. In numismatic grading terms, good condition places the coin on the lower end of the grading scale. This means the coin circulated heavily with significant wear to its surfaces. On the obverse, Queen Elizabeth II's portrait would appear flat, with much of the detail in her hair and diadem lost to wear. On the reverse, the kangaroo and emu would be visible but lacking texture, and finer details of the shield and wattle sprays would be heavily worn down. The mention of scratches further reduces the appeal of the coin. Circulation naturally leads to nicks, dings, and scratches, but these marks still count against the coin's eye appeal and collector desirability. Coins in good condition with scratches are considered filler coins in collections, suitable for someone trying to complete a set of dates, but not highly valued otherwise. In today's auction market, a 2001 Australian 50-cent coin in good condition with scratches is typically worth its face value, which is 50 cents. Collectors rarely pay premiums for such examples because they are so common. Dealers may sell them in bulk lots where their per-coin value remains at or close to face. That said, higher-grade 2001 coins are more desirable. For example, coins in very fine or extra-fine condition may fetch $1 or $2. Uncirculated coins with full mint luster and no scratches can bring $3 to $5 or more. Proof issues, struck in limited numbers for collectors with mirror-like finishes, are considerably more valuable, ranging from $10 to $20, depending on presentation and condition. The special centenary of Federation commemorative designs are also more collectible than the standard coat of arms version, and some of these can attract modest premiums even in circulated grades, while uncirculated examples command higher values. Next up, the 1964 to 2014 Australian 50-cent coin is a fascinating piece because it represents a commemorative issue, marking 50 years of decimal currency in Australia. Decimalisation was one of the most significant changes in the nation's financial history, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system with dollars and cents. The transition began in 1966, but in 2014, the Royal Australian Mint issued a special commemorative series to celebrate half a century of decimal coinage. Among these was the 50-cent coin, which, with its large, distinctive shape and long-standing use in circulation, served as a perfect canvas for a design celebrating this milestone, the reverse of the 196-42014. Commemorative 50-cent coin is what sets it apart from standard issues. Instead of Stuart Devlin's long-serving coat of arms design, this coin features a design celebrating the 50th anniversary of decimal currency. At the center of the reverse is the dual date 1964 to 2014, representing the half-century being commemorated. Surrounding the dates are stylized depictions of earlier Australian coins from before decimalisation, such as shillings and pennies, alongside modern decimal coins. This juxtaposition honors the nation's transition from one system to another. It's a thoughtful and symbolic design that not only acknowledges the past but also celebrates the continuity of Australia's coinage system into the present. Like other 50-cent pieces, the 2014 commemorative coin is struck in copper-nickel alloy, weighs 15.55 grams, and measures 31.65 millimeters across its widest points. Its distinctive dodecagonal, or 12-sided, shape remains consistent with the style first introduced in 1969, making it instantly recognizable. Millions of these coins were minted for circulation, ensuring that they would be available to the general public and not limited only to collectors. This accessibility was part of the Royal Australian Mint's goal of bringing history into the hands of ordinary Australians. The coin described here is in extra fine condition with some scratches. In numismatic grading terms, extra fine condition means the coin has seen only light circulation. Most of the original detail remains intact, though there may be minor wear on the highest points of the design. On the obverse, the Queen's diadem and hair would still show clear detail, though slight flattening might be visible. On the reverse, the intricate commemorative design and lettering remain sharp, with only light signs of wear. However, the presence of scratches lowers the coin's overall eye appeal and reduces its potential value to collectors. In today's auction market, the value of a 1964 to 2014 Australian 50-cent coin in extra fine condition with scratches is generally modest. Circulated examples like this usually sell for around their face value of 50 cents to perhaps $1 or $2. Because millions were minted, availability is high, and collectors can easily find these coins in better grades. Coins in higher grades, however, attract stronger interest. Uncirculated examples, particularly those with bright luster and no marks, can sell for $3 to $5. Proof versions, specially struck with polished dies for collector sets, are far more valuable and can fetch between $10 and $20 or more, especially if they remain in their original packaging from the Royal Australian Mint. Error coins from this year, such as mistrikes, clipped planchettes, or double strikes, are also highly sought after and can command strong premiums depending on rarity, while the coin in extra fine condition with scratches may not hold significant financial value. It has considerable historical importance. It tells the story of Australia's journey from the pre-decimal era into the modern age of decimal currency. The dual date of 1964 to 2014 encapsulates 50 years of change, progress, and continuity in Australia's coinage. For collectors, even a circulated and scratched example has a place in the broader narrative of Australia's numismatic history.